ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We're here for the SPL Relegations. My name is Tom, and that guy's Anatoly. Here are the finals! And although they almost didn't make it, Variety's new team will be here. That is Variety's new team. He'll be there with a couple of other familiar faces. And then we've got the last-minute monsters, a team represented by one of my personal favorite players, HalfDevil.
He's going to be in the dual lane with IACEHD. We're going to see how strong that dual lane is. Also, Mr. Staffen, though, in the mid lane. He plays a fantastic Vulcan, has some good synergy as well with his jungler that's going to be coming out. They really run the table early on.
Yeah, it should be very interesting because, like we said, Variety's new team, a lot of people, I mean, I saw Pecky's like splitting hairs on Twitter. Is this technically a super team? Well, they're three very strong players coming together, and Arkkyl, in his own right, is a very strong player that just hasn't really gotten a chance to prove himself, right? So when you grab all these players, you got Trixtank, you got Zyrhoes, they're coming from different areas. They haven't had a lot of time to really squad up and get together. So I think that this is the opportunity for them to really see that. We saw them in the semifinals kind of fall short a little bit to a team that I don't think a lot of people expected to be as strong as they were, but they kind of had two secret players in Gedfisher and the Steefy Beefy himself, Zashu. So with that in mind, I think that Variety's new team is strong, but perhaps not as strong as I think a lot of people anticipated.
And this is going to be the ultimate test for both of these teams. It's been a very long day for them. They both finished their semifinals at 2-1. Now they're heading into the finals in another best of 3. So we're going to see as we head into picks and bans how they're going to stack up against each other. Who's less tired than the other?
It should be very interesting to see this one work out. We've got Variety's new team. We'll have the first pick and the first ban. And then last MM. We're just going to stick it with MM.
We can just call it Eminem.
Like, we'll just call him Eminem.
Yeah.
I don't like that in the slightest. But we've got the last minute monsters over there, so we'll see how that one works out. Jingwei is going to be the first ban for VNT, as the commentators had shortened it to. So we will not see the ever-present Hunter. I get happy every time I see Jingwei banned because I'm just tired of her being played.
Like we mentioned before, IACEHD, he's very strong in the dual lane with his HalfDevil, but at the same time, this is the Season 3 Jingwei. This is still not the Season 4 Jingwei, where it's received a little bit of nerf, so it makes sense as to why VNT decides to take that off the table.
Thanatos is going to be banned as well. Thanatos is a character that has risen to prominence lately, specifically speaking towards the Worlds meta. Now, there is a distinct difference between the meta that we saw at Worlds and the meta that will be exemplified here in our relegations both this week and next week. But one of the things that did stick around was this Thanatos pick. I think that Worlds, we saw Thanatos in a number of different lights, some in highly specific strategies and other in blanket just we need a jungler strategies, and that opened players' eyes to the fact that Thanatos actually was stronger than a lot of people gave him credit for, and QvoFred is one of the players that is actually very good at Thanatos.
That's what I was about to mention. It's QvoFred plus the Thanatos edition. He's a very aggressive jungler. Thanatos is always trying to get into the thick of things, trying to get members a little bit low, get them into that execute threshold, and if Variety's new team still plays the same style that the old paradigm does, where it's just very aggressive, always initiating first, then that's going to help get that first pick.
Well, we saw Variety dive a couple of Phoenixes, so
just a few.
I think Variety's new team is Variety's old style. Erlang Shen, love the selection. First of all, you've got big flex. QVO, Trixtank, and my man Variety will all be able to play this character. So is it solo, jungle, or long lane? Y'all don't know just yet. Sylvanus and the Thoth man. We got a Thoth guy in this game. That's what I call players that play Thoth guys. And he's a very interesting character because his first ability is, I mean, it does damage, but it's kind of hard to hit. You're usually dealing it to clear the wave more than not. It's just really the ultimate. He is an ult bot in all sorts of thoughts.
As long as he's not being disrupted in the backline, then he should have a relatively safe time to get off that ultimate. His first ability is extended by the range of his wall, so as long as he's playing around those cooldowns, he should be in a safe position. But the global presence already out of VNT between this Ratatoskr and Janus could be a little bit tricky for Stefan to get out of dodge.
And we still have some ambiguity on the side of Variety's new team. Ratatoskr can also be played in the solo lane. Variety is certainly not afraid of playing the assassins. We just saw him on the Kamazats, and he's played other characters in that role before, so Ratatoskr still Not sure who's playing the Erlang or the Rat, and I love the selection of Janus. I always will. Fafnir will be the selection for Mr. HalfDevil.
We haven't seen Fafnir being played in quite a while. You know, Terra's still available, but the fact that the VNT has Erlang Shen, which could potentially cripple mid-dash to prevent the initiation and the escape, basically deters Last MM to be able to pick up that support. So maybe we're going to see a really hyper late game carry god coming out of Last MM.
Very interesting. Got to start thinking about that one, because like we said, Thoth is really just all about the ult. So last minute monsters, they're certainly thinking at least a little bit about heavy damage and along those lines. So Kronos will be banned away from Variety's new team. We saw what devastation Arkkyl can bring on that character. Absolutely. Tier not available either, and Freya will not be available for last minute monsters in that hunter role today. So that leaves a last minute monsters with 2 picks, one of which we'll see very soon.
Oh, there's only Soul available in terms of the magical hunter department. If either of these teams want it, it's kind of do now or never, but with Amaterasu being locked in for Last MM, that leads me to believe that they don't really care about that. They'd rather prioritize a more late game composition where they have mobility with that Amaterasu aura, trying to reposition themselves and match the same pace as the Janus.
Right, and the Amaterasu here, I love the way that this is going to balance out, because Thoth, like I said, is really heavy. It's one-time damage. It's not damage that's going to sit there throughout the course of a team fight. Whereas Amaterasu can get in the midst of things, help out some of the characters by giving some power protections as well. So I'm excited for the Amaterasu. Anhur with selection for Arkkyl. Now, if you followed Arkkyl, like I said, he hasn't exactly been on some of the top teams, but his individual play has been fantastic. And Anhur is a character that you've got to be scared of. And if you're playing against Arkkyl, he is definitely a powerful player on that hunter.
He reminds me a lot of the older Zatman version, where that just likes to fight, and Anhur is definitely a character suited to his style. And paired up with a Geb is going to allow him to make these aggressive plays, get the shields, and then maybe get out of danger. But it is going to be Rama, last pick for Last MM, just to synergize even more with his Fafnir.
Yeah, we'll see how this one works out. Arkkyl on the hunter, and it will be Variety on the man with the dog, the Erlang Shen. QvoFred will be playing the Ratatoskr, and Zyrhoes on his Janus. Once upon a time, Zyrhoes was the jungler for SK Gaming, then known as Fnatic, and he played Janus Jungle, or Janus Jungle, as I like to say. He really loves this god, and so much so that he just became a mid laner to actually be able to play it. So we'll see how this one works out for VNT. Last minute monsters, you know some of them. We've got Mr. Stefan and HalfDevil and IACEHD, all of which you have probably seen high levels of the Challenger Cup, sometimes flirting with the professional scene. And then you've got Hestrix in the jungle next to Tetbound.
And we haven't really talked about this too much, but the Fenrir being locked in, it wasn't actually the Fafnir at all. They had a Sylvanus and the Fafnir. So with the Fenrir for Hestrix paired up with the Thoth, they could find a lot of damage. Yet again, more grouping up in the level 1 stages. It seems that last minute monsters, they're feeling very confident. The Wrath is available for Hestrix.
Yeah, we'll see this one go down. There's really no competition here with the state of the Wrath. Big damage, however. We're going to see everybody on last minute monsters reach out about 75%. But a good heal coming out of HalfDevil. Let's everybody just walk away. Thanks, Captain Jack.
They got the speed buff, and that's all they really wanted to. They're going to get the right side mid-harpies to kind of snowball a little bit further off of it. So this is a pretty good early game lead coming out of Last MM.
Yep, that's how you got to start the game right now, already with 200 gold in the pocket. So far, Variety is able to get his blue buff, and if you're looking at Variety's new team, well, he is the namesake for a reason. He's going to be looking to single-handedly carry his team out of certain situations. This is one of them, I think.
So Hestrix now with the speed buff, getting it denied on the side of QvoFred makes it a difference of timers between these two teams. So now Hestrix, if he really wants to, once he gets his own speed buff a little later on, he could time it to invade the enemy speed buff yet again while still having his own.
And we'll see that time and time again. We're likely to see that in this best of 3 here in our finals. Just worth noting, by the way, Stinky Cheese, the highly successful team with Gorgonzola, went down to the 3rd place match, but however, they forfeited it. They just decided not to play. And because of that, they will earn 0 points for their performance this week.
It seems that their hunter, unfortunately, could not make it to the table. So what an unfortunate set of circumstances for them. You know, they have the players necessary to do well, but, you know, things happen outside the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll see how they perform next week. As for right now, game is still off to an interesting start. As Variety's new team gets aggressive, they're able to exert some of the pressure in the mid lane. and push the Minute Monsters off there, and that will allow Variety's new team to pick up some of the back camps on the enemy side of the map.
Really respecting HalfDevil there was QvoFred and Zyrhoes, dashing through that little area, as well as Zyrhoes taking his own portal. They were really concerned about the pull into that tier 1 tower and then getting rooted into place, taking unnecessary damage.
Well, when it comes to HalfDevil, some of the newer fans out there might not be familiar with this guy's name, but he is one of the better players. Hold that. Variety has a strong play in the mid lane, or the solo lane, excuse me, but a dash out of Amaterasu will make her safe. HalfDevil is a character that has solidified himself as a strong player. He's just come into other things, living in Israel, conscription. He has to fight in the military, unfortunately for him. So his Smite career was cut short, but early on, Season 1 and even earlier than that, he was one of, I would say, a top support that players have really come to respect. So you might not be familiar with him, but these top level players absolutely are. And like you said, the respect for him is high.
Yeah, he's a really funny dude, very loud, boisterous, always trying to make it a lightened mood. I believe that he has a duet performance with Suntouch way back in the day. You can probably go ahead and YouTube that. But heading back into this matchup, though, we see a lot of action in both side lanes trying to go for 1v1 plays. Earlier on, Variety trying to get off a lot of damage onto Rebound. He recognized just how much damage that the Erlang Shen was capable to do based on the last game when he was playing the Kamazots.
Just got to be very careful and very wary of the output. And here we go, just as we had mentioned, Totally, every time the speed buff comes up, you're going to see last minute monsters make a play for it. And Trixtank by himself here, going to get ulted. The Janus ultimate comes right on through, but it's a 4-on-1. Trixtank gets knocked up in the sky. Here comes Amaterasu, finds the portal. Well played by Zyrhoes, helping out his teammate right there. Big old taunt out of Variety. He's surrounded one more time, half HP. He'll get a heal in a moment. There it is, full HP. And it looks like that's going to be that, Totally.
Oh, they're going to be chasing it down. There's not much mana on the side of last minute monsters. It's just going to be Rebound now, getting poked out completely by Variety. There's 4 members on right. Where's the rest of Variety's new team? They're going to be able to collapse on the top side. We see QvoFred trying to collapse on Stefan here.
Very interesting play right there, Totally. Last minute monsters surrounded Variety, 4-on-1. Variety fought a single player while the other 3 didn't do anything. Did they have to play that as careful as they did?
Well, it seemed that Trixtank got poked out really heavily. He barely got through that portal initially. He absorbed so many cooldowns, but the rest of VNT seemed that they weren't really concerned about wanting to fight that. They would rather try to bait, kite, get any farm on the left-hand side that they could, because we saw Arkkyl make the rotation for the left side mid Harpies. And looking at the gold difference here between the network, both of these hunters are very equal right now. Neither team really getting an edge despite the 2 speed buff invades.
Yeah, the hunters on the other side, so it's really just going to be that one-on-one. Like I said, Arkyl's selection of the Anhur plus his play style that we know will kind of, in my opinion, give him the upper hand in this lane if it's going to be about the one-on-one fight. Anhur by itself is going to be a better fighter than Rama most of the time, and Arkkyl is definitely that mindset.
And recognizing this, IACEHD electing to go for the Devil Gloves immediately, trying to get the sustain, preventing any sort of poke that Arkkyl could dish out, but all the poke will be dished out into that soul lane as Variety is just going to be a bully the whole entire game.
And that's going to be his game plan again, just like Arkkyl. Not only did he pick a character to do that, Erlang Shen is going to look to be the bully, but also that's what Variety wants to do. If you've ever watched him play before, even ran into him in real life, he's kind of just a big old bully. So in all seriousness though, he's going to control this short lane, at least for now, until Amaterasu reaches level 9, and then we'll likely honestly continue to see the devastation come that way. Good old knockup taunt after right beforehand, and that's going to bring his opponent down to about 10% HP.
Rebound has to be careful. Variety's not done yet. He's going to die this. He finds the pin, going to have 2 shots. He's waiting for the turtle to find the knockup into another kill. Doesn't need the last hit, but Hestrix falls as well to Zyrhoes around the goal here. 2 kills on the side of VNT.
And left side fight still continuing. HalfDevil falls down, hand of Arkkyl right there. So it'll be a 3 for none on different sides of the map. 2 on the left, 1 in the solo lane as Variety's new team goes ahead and solidifies a lead of their own. It's about 1,000 gold up for VNT as we're 6 minutes in, 3 kills to none. And the last minute monsters look like they already might be on their last minute.
And with this 1,000 goal lead, it's going to seem that Variety's new team, they're going to try to extend it a little bit further by keeping the pressure around the team fights, because at this point in time, Geb is a little bit more valuable than the Sylvanus. The Sylvanus' sustain is not quite online at this
Absolutely.
point, whereas the Geb, all he has to do is use the ultimate, use the knockup, allow the rest of his teammates to follow up, whereas Sylvanus, he does have some options as well, but it's a little bit more difficult to confirm than the Geb.
Last-minute Monsters making a surprising play here, going for the Gold Fury, despite being the team that wound up on the poor side of that team fight. Ratatoskr is going to wrap around the circle, and that's too late. Last-minute Monsters just sneak one away. And while they find themselves looking up at somebody else's lead, they answer right on back, and we're back to a tie game.
You have to utilize the Wrath at its fullest advantage. You know, invading the speed buff 2 times in a row, now going for the Gold Fury.
Yep.
Fully optimized is this Wrath by Hestrix, and this is what's going to allow them to still stay in the game after that poor showing just a minute ago, losing 3 members.
Wonderful, and you know, I actually asked myself the question, why didn't Variety's new team go for the Gold Fury in the first place? And then secondly, why were they allowed to do that? HalfDevil again, the target! And instead, Hestrix going to grab Trixtank. They're going to turn this one around. Trixtank shields himself, able to walk out of there no problem.
QvoFred.
And it looked like Qvo wanted to get aggressive, but then got the call otherwise. So I pose my question to you. Why didn't VNT go for the gold before when they killed 3 players?
A lot of their abilities were used to get those 2 kills on the left-hand side, and with Variety's teleport still being on cooldown on right, he didn't really want to make that rotation because it's more important at the early game to get the gold and the experience on the left side, utilizing the ultimate. This is what Arkkyl loves to do. He finds you out of position and he kills you.
Absolutely love it. This is what makes Arkkyl such a fun player to watch, and I'm happy that he's surrounded by players like this. Now, no disrespect to the players that Arkkyl has previously played with, but he just has never gotten the stage to really show his stuff. And this is the opportunity where he's going to get to do so. We'll see if he pays for his very aggressive positioning here.
Doesn't seem like it as he knocks back HalfDevil under the tier 1 tower. Thoth was more concerned about getting those boars instead of trying to make the rotation, but the left right-hand side, Variety finding the knockup. QvoFred trying to follow up.
Oh, that's a dead Amaterasu. The ultimate comes out to find safety. Maybe not dead just yet. Variety's not going to get tricked, goes around the correct side. And an unstable vortex is thrown out by Zyrhoes. Rebound will be all right for now. Variety, however, still barking down that tower.
They got members low enough to be able to start putting pressure onto this blue buff, so they will confirm that invade steal on the right-hand side. Rebound did teleport back. There's still 3 members from VNT floating about the jungle side. They're looking to try to catch Hestrix on the rotation. Look at this.
Or maybe even Mr. Stefan, who's sitting there just above half HP, messing with Trixtank. Had Zyrhoes found that portal, I think we see an all-in from both Variety and the jungler. But instead, not going to happen. Variety gets caught in the jungle, but he'll be generally fine thanks to the Turtle Man.
And this is something that Variety really wants to do with Rebound's teleport being on cooldown. If he can bully him out one more time and make him miss a wave, this is going to what separate him to get that level 12.
Well, here comes Fenrir on the backside. Zero is going to be hit and ulted. Purification is strong enough for the moment. But Zero is still going to get stunned. A couple of more basics will do it, but here's help from Qvo, and HalfDevil shows up. Basics from the tree is good enough. HalfDevil gets a kill, and Hestrix finds a way out, just barely escaping the ultimate of the Anhur.
Unfortunately, no mana for Zyrhoes to get away from that one, so he's going to take a spill. No gold here to take advantage of for LMM, as their Wrath was used to be able to get the stun effect.
On the Janus.
That was another great use of that relic so far. Hestrix doing a great job, as he's going to go a very tanky build on this Fenrir. Reinforced Greaves now working on that Void Shield as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not unheard of. In fact, it's rather common to see tanky Fenrirs, but usually it's tanky after 2 items. You usually see Warrior Tabi, and then you usually see a Jotun's Wrath or a Shifter Shield or something that provides offensive nonsense. And then after that, you'll see generally tankier items. How come we see just straight up, I'm a tank man?
In this early game for Hestrix on the Fenrir, his base damage on all his abilities is good enough to really take advantage of Zyrhoes, QvoFred, and Arkkyl if they're out of position. So in the late game, as long as he gets tanky enough, his whole goal is just to be an ult bot. He's going to find somebody, it could even be Trixtank potentially, just to get them out of position and maybe find a kill.
He'll also be looking for the stuns, thanks to the passive. He'll find some stuns with that jumped in. If he's that tanky, he's certainly going to be a viable. Player to look for the initiation. So Fenrir wearing a couple of different hats today. 1,000 gold lead for Variety's new team.
Arkkyl,
Arkkyl finds Lace one more time.
He wants it.
Oh, he chases out the ultimate and the purification. Already a win for Arkkyl, and he's going to walk right on back.
He's not done yet, though. He wants to put pressure on this wave, trying to force IACEHD back into base, but now with HalfDevil here, doesn't seem that this Rama player is going to have to back Trixtank. Maybe could look for an engagement. The purification is not available.
Oh, HalfDevil gets knocked back, just barely, to the left of that pillar. Here comes the Fenrir. Double stun for the dog man. Picks up one in his mouth. There's the Arkkyl ultimate to follow suit. Excellent ultimate out of the support. Trixtank finding a stun, but from the sky, the Ratatoskr lands right on the backside, and the dog is tanky enough. Still can't get out of there. QvoFred gets the kill. Five in total.
5 members are here from VNC. They want more, but Amaterasu stunning out one. The Geb Shield gonna keep QvoFred alive. Being pulled back in. Arkkyl forced to jump away. Lace gonna fall to Variety in the backhand side. VNC putting more pressure onto that tier 1 tower. 3 members dead from LMM.
Variety from the back one more time. HalfDevil falls to the wayside. Rebound is surrounded. We'll see if he's going to die here.
One more.
The tower is really the target, but with that impale, faces out the dash. And like I said, everybody looking for the objective. Strong veteran play right there from Variety's new team. If this is 5 rookies, we see them chase that kill on the Amy. Instead, they understand it's all about the tower. 500 gold in the pocket for Variety's new team. 8-1 with 13, just underneath 13 minutes on the clock. And they've gone from 1,000 gold lead to almost 3.
This team fight dictated the whole pace of the future of this game, I would say, for VNC, because they won that fight 4-0 while diving the tier 1 tower without losing any members. Now, they don't go for Gold Fury because of how low they were. They didn't really have much mana for the Gold Fury, but getting that tier 1 tower was good enough for them to start resetting, spend all that gold in hand, and then look for more of these plays grouped up, because now they're getting to a point where their experience is going to start separating even further. Looking at the 2-level gap between the hunters is the most important factor.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun watching Variety's new team because they're learning on the fly. This team has probably had a couple of, I mean, keep in mind, Worlds was 3 weeks ago, and so you're looking at a team that has been put together. I'm sure they discussed things, right? Okay, when Worlds happens, if we don't win, I'm going to quit my team, I'm going to join your team, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure they discussed things behind the scenes, but they probably didn't get a chance to play. Ooh, and Lace is here to play.
Not going to be enough to buy any time. Arkkyl with the second solo kill of the game. Hestrix making the rotation, trying to find the cleanup kill, but it's not going to be enough.
Ooh, and with Arkkyl ultimate down, no CC immunity, gets the Sanctuary. Oh, the beautiful Wrath stun.
Again, beautiful play by Hestrix, utilizing the Wrath, but is it going to be enough? He's tanky enough to run away.
He's totally fine. Hestrix has, I mean, at the very least, even if nothing else happens in this game, Hestrix has had one of the most effective Wrath games I think I've ever seen.
I would say so. Consistently, time and time, as we've seen him on the screen. 2 speed buff invades, Gold Fury, 2 kills with the Wrath already. So that's only 5 that we've seen.
And that's the fact that what I love about those 2 kills, one on Zyrhoes is Janus and the other right there onto Arkkyl. Had that stun not happened, it's a free player.
Yep.
Could walk through the portal. Like, it was just a wonderful stuff to see. And those are the only 2 kills on the board for LMM. So we'll see how that develops and if he's able to find a couple more. Still building tanky. Shifter Shield is going to be a nice hybrid item, giving him a chunk of power, but also a large chunk of protections as well.
Trying to go into the Jotun's Wrath more than likely to get some more CDR online just to be able to spam more of these Unchains. The initiation from him is going to be so important for LMM to find any sort of picks.
Absolutely. The Fenrir is going to be looked to for the majority of that, as the Sylvanus does not have Blink. So the Fenrir is going to be a big part of that. Next to Sylvanus will be a hand-in-hand initiation type deal.
Left-hand side, QvoFred finding a stun, as well as Hestrix forced into the Ragnarok, and that's going to maybe allow VNT to start putting more pressure on the left-hand side as Gold Fury has respawned.
Right here in the mid lane, Trixtank just bothering these players. Zyrhoes gets grabbed, but the root's a little bit too late, so no harm, no foul. Right and left sides collapse on a HalfDevil. 65% HP onto the support. Very, a lot of opportunities, but nobody really grabbing them. Lace is the target.
Lace in trouble, gonna go into the sky, trying to buy time, but only one shot, immediately trying to escape. The purification was used. They're still gonna dive him under the tier 2 tower. Variety confirms it.
Variety, good job right there diving the tower. He knows he's tanky enough. Level 17, 500 on the Erlang Shen. HalfDevil is going to find another death. Variety gets 6 at 600. And HalfDevil falls down for the 3rd time this contest.
So with VNT applying this much pressure on the left-hand side, it kind of discombobulated LMM from what they really wanted to do. HalfDevil was getting pressured on the mid lane by Variety's rotation that he kind of panic ultied 3 members with nobody to really follow up, and as a result, now we're seeing more deaths on the side of LMM. 2 members dead, and VNT is still going to chase this.
Variety's new team quickly opens the window just a crack, grabs the Gold Fury, grabs the dog, and just takes it to the top. 5,200 gold. Variety's team are leading their opposition, and they've earned every bit of it. They're up 10 kills, 12-2 specifically. And Last Minute Monsters just, they started the game off really strong with their strategy. We saw an invade, we saw a repeated invade, we saw control of the jungle, and Variety's new team just didn't care. They sat there and they waited, and they said, look, Variety's gonna wreck his guy, Arkyl's gonna wreck his guy, and then we'll see at 15 minutes. And that's exactly what happened. Side note, Arkkyl wrecked another person's guy. For the Hunter, that's gonna be 4 kills, 5 assists, and just a single death that we saw out of Hestrix.
So much
well
damage.
Played.
So much damage coming out of Arkkyl. Level 17, chin size finish now. He's going to be just absolutely destroying anybody in his path. And looking at Variety, level 18 at this point in time, almost beating out the clock. Not even 18-minute mark, and he's out-leveling the clock.
I mean, this is what you want to look towards, and I think it's very interesting. With QvoFred, Zyrhoes, and Trixtank on this team, Variety and Arkkyl are going to be the heavy lifters of Variety's new team. If this team, let's say this team goes ahead and continues, and this is the squad, Variety and Arkkyl, believe it or not, I think a lot of fans will be surprised at how much heavy lifting Arkkyl will be doing on this squad, as opposed to Qvo, Zyrhoes, and Trixtank. Trixtank and Qvo are probably going to combine to be more of the setup men. You're going to see these Ratatoskr plays for the knockups more so than anything else. The Thor that will come out will be for the setup play, while Arkkyl is just sitting there trying to murder things.
Yeah, we see so much action coming out of the junglers and the frontliners to allow Arkkyl to do what they need to do and rebound, getting focused so heavily. Yet again, he might be forced into the ultimate, but Variety electing not to dive uncharacteristically, actually, into that tier 2 tower, despite having such a lead. 3 levels ahead. He does have that magic defense, but Arkkyl, he wants more blood. He gets it 3rd time in a row.
100% accuracy. All of those spears from the ultimate, nails the target. Laced falls down. Arkkyl 5-1-5 for the European Hunter. This is the game that Variety, when he made this team, and people asked him about the Arkkyl selection, this is the game that he points to and says that's why.
Now tier 2 tower on the right-hand side getting aggressed on. Hestrix getting stunned out, forced to retreat as Rebound does the same. Variety, he wants to dive. Does the Trixtank, the Gap Shield is good enough. The Sanctuary keeping Hestrix alive, but nowhere to go for HalfDevil.
QvoFred gets credit for that one underneath the tower. Hestrix in trouble as well. Still, tanky as anything. He's able to find an exit stage, left half HP on the tier 2 tower. Players from Variety's new squad still looking for blood, or rather in this case, a stone. It rumbles to the ground, 52,000 gold, and that'll be 10K. Variety and his new team are in the lead.
And what 4 members of VNT do on the right, Arkkyl does the same on the left. With IACEHD dead for quite a while, Arkkyl was able to snag that tier 2 tower, and now all 5 members are here in the mid lane. They could continue to put pressure if they wanted to on this tier 2 tower, but it seems that they're going to wait for this red buff to respawn.
So this is a very important game for Variety's new team because of how the last set just went.
Oh, dead. Mounted. Gone. Obliterated. Destroyed.
Deleted.
Out of here.
See ya. Variety's new team, they need this game. Semifinals was a task.
Yes.
They and you know,
especially that last game.
And not to shake a stick, or not to underplay how good Steefy Beefy and friends are. Arkkyl going to be surrounded here by 3. Trixtank is here, ultimate to avoid any of the CC. Comes a little bit early. Arkkyl likely to fall down. Hestrix gets credit off of a lot of damage from the solo lane Amaterasu. Trixtank and Hunter just a little bit too aggressive, I think.
Yeah, they're completely out of position. They're feeling a little bit too confident right now. Taking a spill was Arkkyl. Trixtank, they're rolling in though.
Which is exactly what I was going to talk about. HalfDevil gets another kill. Here comes the rest of Variety's new team. Could they be a little bit too late? It looks like that just might be the case.
Oh, they found Lace HD, but they're trying to find a little bit more variety. He wants to go in, but there's 4 members that's going to be able to chase him down. The nice little root cripple, but just taking too much damage. Without the Geb shield, he can't really escape this one unless everybody misses. But no, finally finding the cleanup kill. They did find Lace HD on the left-hand side, but just overextended on the right.
And this is the situation that I was afraid of them getting into, which is why I was bringing up semifinals. Variety's new team needs to get through these relegations as easily and painlessly as possible. When I look at this team, I do see a lot of talent. QvoFred, Zyrhoes, Trixtank, Variety,
everybody.
Arkkyl. Everybody's very talented. But despite the fact that Zyrhoes had actually coached Energy throughout Worlds, I personally believe that all of these players need a coach. And without a leader on this team, I think it's going to cause a lot of problems if they run into losing. Last set, I think, was more arduous than it needed to be.
It's always important having that outside perspective, but HalfDevil caught in an awkward position, getting surrounded by both Trixtank and QvoFred, though. He's going to survive for a little bit longer as Arkkyl is boxing out Lace HD on the top-hand side, though. Still going in, the rebound, trying to save his team with an own ultimate.
Hestrix as well. Arkkyl chasing out the support on the top side. Bottom side, we see everybody else. There's a good ultimate on a rebound from Trixtank. Arkkyl being aggressed on by the dog, and nobody grabbed up in the ultimate. Couple more hits will send Hestrix to the pound, and it's Mr. Stefan that gets one right before Variety takes down Hestrix.
Beautiful ultimate coming out of him. Still trying to survive though with a dash. Not going to be enough as Trixtank gets HalfDevil though. Still trying to run away from Zyrhoes on the left. Finally finding that one. So with that in mind, that's going to be a 3-for-1 for VNT. They don't want to go for the Phoenixes quite yet. They want to be able to secure this Fire Giant and then go for all these towers and Phoenixes.
Yeah, it's the Fire Giant play. Zyrhoes half HP. Doesn't want to get too excited up close and personal with the opposition. 23 minutes into this current contest. This is finals, best of 3, of course. Game number 1. Variety's new team in the lead. Fire Giant going to be ulted by Ram. Love the damage stop.
Trying to find the steal. It's not enough. He's not going to be able to germain it this time, though. Variety is going to be able to confirm and not enough damage out of rebounds ultimate. And it doesn't seem that VNT wants to fully commit to it. 2 members go forward, 2 members go backwards. Still have to clean up a little bit of this communication.
Right, the communication raw. As we said, this is a newer put together team. They might have spoken about it before Worlds, but at the very least, they've been practicing for a week and a half, 2 weeks, right? And like I said, leadership, I think, is my big question mark when I'm looking at this squad. I'm not really looking at anybody on the team to be my leader. I think everybody on the team excels with a leader in front of them.
Nice, through space and time. Going to poke out HalfDevil a little bit, trying to poke out more members to be able to confirm this goal here for free, extending their lead to beyond that 10,000 milestone coming out of them. And with this Fire Giant, with that Gold Fury, they're going to start being able to just knock down these Phoenixes for free. And like we were mentioning before, just the damage coming out of the side lanes between Arkkyl and Variety, they're kind of running the show. Even their scoreline basically dictates it. 7-1 and 6, 5-2 and 8 out of the Anhur.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, this is what I call the throw it in the bag moment, where you just walk it in the store and you're like, look, I don't care what the price tag says, just throw it in the bag. Variety's new team is just going to walk over to players. I don't care who you are. I'm going to jump on you. It's going to be 3-on-1. You're dead. I want your tower. I don't care how you're going to defend it. It's dead. We're up 10,000 gold. What are you going to do? Last minute monsters have to make a fantastic stop. Usually you'll see that on the Phoenix, some teams will opt to defend on the tier 2 tower, and it looks like that's what LMM want to do. Trixtank shields himself, taking up the tower for him and his teammates. Arkkyl and friends just powering those basics right in. 10%. And last minute monsters don't want to defend here just yet.
Variety on the left-hand side was thinking about flanking for quite a bit. Always in the back of your mind, you have to watch out for the solo laner or assassin, doesn't matter who it is, that's looking for that sneaky opportunity play. So you can't overcommit to defending that tier 2 tower as a result. But now, under this middle Phoenix, it seems that VNT, they want to continue the pressure. Arkkyl, though, getting blown up by Stefan's ult.
And that's a big play considering how much damage Arkkyl's going to do to the team. But more importantly, the Phoenix. Arkkyl is the main source of tower damage, and with him being low or out of the picture, it's going to be harder for this Phoenix to fall down. Hestrix grabs a target, but he's low himself, chased out of the team fight. And all the while, see Arkkyl just on the backside dealing damage to the Phoenix. It falls down, and the rest of the team shifts to the left side.
LMM were lucky that they only lost one in the process. Nice dash intercept by Variety, making sure that his backline was still alive. Arkkyl still getting off a lot of damage onto that Phoenix. Easy peasy, and now with the escape from QvoFred, it's going to get pulled back in by HalfDevil.
And with the right body blocks, it would have been strong, but the team just couldn't find the spots. Trixtank on the bottom side, and meanwhile, Variety and friends surround, rebound, and put him down in the ground.
The Fire Giant is just too much for LMM to handle. With those two Phoenixes down, now it seems that the right is the last one. They're going to be able to grab this one as well. Not too many ultimates to be able to contest this one. All three Phoenixes down. VNT are driving this car to victory for the first game in this best-of-3 set.
Yeah, this is Variety's new team's chance to win this game for sure. We saw the three Phoenixes go down. Likely we're going to see a cleanup of the jungle, a back, maybe a purchase for whatever's left in the coffers, and then just the final siege.
3,200 gold in hand for Zyrhoes. Going to be able to really finish off that Ratatoskr unless they're going to find another kill. Hestrix slightly out of position. He wanted his speed buff, but he's going to find the graveyard instead.
Oh well, Arkkyl. 7, 2, and 9 for the Hunter. What an impressive performance we've seen from him. Team fight, objective taking, and the one-on-one in a number of different areas right there. Just an impressive Anhur game. When there's nothing I like more than seeing a play style being embraced along with the character to go hand in hand. You know Arkyl's gonna fight somebody, so give him the honor and let him do it.
And what's more important than that, it was the fact that VNC recognized that there was gonna be a 3-on-3 in the solo lane with both supports rotating. Arkkyl and Lace would be able to solo farm it out, and obviously an Anhur versus a Ram, the abilities in the early game between levels 4 through 9 heavily favors the Anhur, especially with someone so mechanically gifted as Arkkyl that can consistently land his abilities just to find the kills. 3 solo kills this game. 3. Unheard of in the SPL.
3 solo kills. Well, a lot of the times you're just not given that chance.
That's true.
You're just not given the opportunity. So while we do celebrate Arkkyl, we also do have to, point out last minute monsters probably could have prevented that a little bit. It took the 3rd kill for Hestrix to punish the Arkkyl. Maybe a little bit too late.
Absolutely too late. 28 minutes into the game, all 3 Phoenixes down. It's up to LMM now just to clear their heads and head into game 2. Not being too discouraged. Like, obviously you lose this one, but you cannot allow this action to reoccur in game 2.
So if you're HalfDevil or whoever's leading these guys on last minute monsters, what are you saying to your team right now, Coach Tully?
At this point, I wouldn't even worry about the 3v3 invade on the right-hand side. I would just more focus on trying to prevent Arkkyl from going off, or at least abuse the fact that he will try to look for these 1v1 plays. Maybe look for some more global presences of themselves, because looking at the picks and bans, they didn't have any globals for themselves to take advantage of.
Big old tunnel worm coming out from Variety's new team from the Fire Giant to the left side of the map, the ends of the earth. We'll see Variety's new team now split up between the left and the mid lane. Splitting out last-minute monsters. Here's the final siege. HalfDevil down to a quarter of life. He posts out the ultimate. Right now, the Titan is going to be the target. Lace gets a kill, and Zyrhoes gets one to answer on back. Both supports down for the count. Still pushing in as Variety's new team. They've got rebound down to half HP. Great body blocks. Hestrix is gone as well. Arkkyl puts even more damage onto his target.
Thoth.
And there's the kill. Mr. Stefan bounces out and finds Arkkyl.
That's Thoth for just being able to absolutely obliterate. But
See ya.
Unstable Vortex is almost as good. First game going in the way of VNT. Best of 3 set. Now LMM forced to adapt. That was a huge loss for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit rough there. Certainly a different flavor than I think they tasted throughout the beginning of this tournament. So we'll see how that one comes back and adjusts. That's really what I'm looking for. Last minute monsters, where do they go from here?
They have to just be able to abuse Arkkyl. In my opinion. They got the invades off, they got the 2 speed buffs, they got the Gold Fury, they got some kills with the Wrath from Hestrix. They couldn't transition that in the mid to late, and we saw a lot of good solo play from Variety and a lot of better Hunter play from Arkkyl.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was the Arkkyl show here. I'm signing up, I'm putting on my Arkkyl hat, and I'm playing Anhur all night tonight. Watching him handle this lane, there's no other word for it. He just handled it. What is Lace gonna do here? Just drops the ultimate, and then one more basic seals the deal. That's the first one. Here's the second one. Lace a little bit more ready for this. Scratch that, he got stunned. Now he activates his Aegis too late, and he gets ulted in the face one more time. Now, Lace, this time, he just completely in in the wrong spot at the wrong time. The ultimate comes out, and Arkkyl just makes mincemeat out of Lace. Just an incredible 3 kills right there that Lace just had no business being in.
It was just a snowball effect for all of VNT, especially after around the 12.5-minute mark when they dove that tier 1 tower in the duel lane because of all the pressure Arkkyl had.
Yeah.
They got a 4-for-0 while diving that tier 1 tower for free.
And that's really the important part, totally. We get to see the highlight reel, you know, but it's all about the actions after the kill, right? It's all about, awesome, you got the kill, so hooray, you get to put it on your Jiffy Cat. But what does that? How does that impact the game? The 4 players in the mid lane. We saw towers taken from the single kills by Arkkyl. We saw objectives taken by the single kills out of Arkkyl. Variety was able to put on a show by himself on the solo side of the map as well. Variety had a couple of good plays coming out, and a lot of that had to do with the pressure that Arkkyl brought in the early to mid.
We just saw him being always in a position to flank, and this is the 4-for-0 play that happened because of Variety basically separating both of these backline squishy targets. He finds one, he even gets a second one in the process, and still is able to survive long enough to get back into the thick of things under the tier 1 dive.
And the beauty of that play right there, as Variety cleans up a triple kill for himself, whether it's in the books or not, is the fact that he gets those kills just sort of haphazardly while he's doing his job. His job is to make sure that Arkkyl and the other guys, but mainly Arkkyl the Hunter, can deal damage to the tower. So he pushes the damage dealing characters away, and he's like, well, if I'm going to push you that far away and you're going to be that low, I guess I'll just kill you. So he's doing his job and getting the kill at the same time. That's just strong Smite.
What I like about this whole play from Variety was the fact that VNT first picked Erlang Shen because of the fact that, like you mentioned before, it's such a flex pick for them between QvoFred, Trixtank, Variety, and it was first pick worthy the way Variety played it. So I'm expecting maybe this time around, LMM is going to look at that god more than any other god and decide what they want to do with it, whether they want to take it themselves or maybe ban it away.
Yeah, no, when it comes down to it, like I said, Qvo, Trix, and Variety are all going to be able to play this character at that level.
Yep.
That well. So
Scary.
a 3-person flex pick that's going to be a top-tier character in top-tier hands. If I'm Last Minute Monsters, I am banning that god. Absolutely not going to be in my game. Absolutely not.
I'm going to ban it in my rank games as well after that.
P's and B's.